Now, Six Sigma projects are initiated to address present or future requirements in alignment with organizational goals. Now, here are a few requirements of a successful Six Sigma project. It begins with a group consisting of master black belts, champions, and executives within your leadership that establishes a set of criteria for project selection and team assignments. Now, those selected project teams have a mix of skills and expertise that is based on the nature of the project. And a project should always have positive impact on profits. Improvements within a process should never adversely affect another process, whether upstream or downstream. So expected profit from a Six Sigma project is calculated as this. Our expected profit is equal to our profit forecast multiplied by our success probability. Now, there are a total of 5 levels within our Six Sigma team. It begins with our top executives. Now, they're the ones that lead the change and provide direction. And then the top executives also own all the Six Sigma initiatives within the company. Now, a champion, they're the ones that identify and scope the project and develop the strategies necessary to be successful. They also help to identify and coach master black belts. Now, a master black belt, they're the ones that train and coach black belts and green belts, as well as other various leaders function. Now, a master black belt, they're the ones that train and coach black belts, green belts, and other various functional leaders within your organization. While a Six Sigma black belt, they're the ones that apply the strategy to specific projects and lead and direct teams to execute on those projects. And then we have a green belt. And the green belt, they're there to support the black belt by working on a project and performing day-to-day activities within their job. So while financial accounting is useful to track physical assets, the balanced scorecard offers a more holistic approach to strategy implementation and performance measurement by taking into account perspectives other than financials. Because with every project, we always have to look at what is driving it outside of our financial perspective. The balanced scorecard translates organizational strategy into actionable objectives and provides a framework for performance management. They help to clarify the organization vision and mission. They provide feedback on both business processes and outcomes, and they aid in continuous improvement with respect to organizational goals. And then finally, they integrate the organizational strategy with key metrics from the 4 major areas of performance, which are financial, learning and growth, internal processes, and the customer. So when we look at learning and growth, those are the intangible factors of success. They're learning from experience. Now, an internal process is an operational goal for internal processes, while a customer is something that is customer-facing in terms of their objective. And then finally, financial objectives are tracking financial successes. So how do we develop a balanced scorecard? Well, the interactions between perspectives or business units have to be considered to prevent uneven optimization. So for each perspective, we have to take into account these 4 things. The first one is strategic objectives. Once we understand what those are, we're then able to do the second one, which is measures, which are there to basically measure to achieve each of the objectives that we've identified. Once we have those measurements in place, we can then create targets for each one of the measurements. And then finally, once we have our targets, we can have initiatives, which are the process or the plans that requires us to achieve each one of those targets. Let's explain what has changed in the usage of a balanced scorecard versus strategy maps. Now, here's a balanced scorecard. And we notice our financial, our learning and growth, our internal processes, and our customer. Now, a balanced scorecard is just the key performance indicators that are presented independent of each other. With a strategy map, that is a chain of cause and effect relationships between the perspectives that are representative by interlinked objectives in a very strategic map. It's typically a one-page view of how the organization can create value. And here's a great example of the difference between a balanced scorecard and a strategy map. The balanced scorecard and strategy maps force managers to consider cause and effect relationships, especially leading to better identification of drivers and a well-rounded approach to strategic planning. If we don't understand the relationships between our cause and effect, it may cause additional problems, such as not identifying the right problem to solve for. If we don't understand those relationships, we don't understand the impact of how solving for a problem will ultimately help us downstream. Now, the balanced scorecard enables the organization to improve in multiple ways. The first is that it can be easily communicated and facilitates understanding on all levels of the organization. A balanced scorecard also forces an organization to manage information better so that quality of decision making is higher. It also helps in us creating performance reports against a balanced scorecard, which allows for a more structured approach to reporting. It also enables organizations to communicate performance transparently and meaningfully. And then it also has an overall objective of a balanced scorecard can be to cascade into each business unit to enable that unit to work towards a common organizational goal. So that's the end of topic 1. I look forward to seeing you again in topic 2, where we'll talk about lean principles.